Alright, you're welcome back once again. This video is going to strictly talk about the different styles in leadership, especially in business. I'm going to be exposing you to some of the styles that you will need to employ whenever you want to hire either a manager or someone you need to do what to run your company. There are different styles of leadership, and as a matter of fact, these styles can be implemented in different ways. Seeing the kind of situation you have on the ground, then you will be able to know the kind of leadership style that you're going to employ, just to see to it that your targeted aim in terms of good leadership is being achieved. So I want you to sit back, relax, and follow us as we journey through this track. Now, it is usually obvious what kind of employee you need. Very, very clear. Everybody knows the kind of employee that they need, but it's not always clear what kind of leaders they want or they need. In an organization, people are often faced with this kind of situation, you see. Now, this lack of clarity can have serious consequences, and of course that's actually true. Now, Harvard researchers found that between 1/3 and 1/2 of new chief executives fail within their first 18 months on their job. A very big problem, so to speak. Now, one of the main reason for this was decision makers overestimating their abilities and potential, or hiring a leader who just didn't fit their business context. They make that blunder, they make that mistake, hiring a leader who does not fit the kind of business constructs that they want, or the business context that they want. Is a major problem. So if you're hiring for a leadership position like chief executive officers, you will want to avoid this kind of mistakes to be able to do what? Avoid to be able to get, for you to be able to what? Avoid some horrible costs that might jeopardize your business. Now, being able to differentiate the different leadership styles in business, and knowing which one to hire for your company, is essential in making the right decisions, or the right ones to hire. You should be able to what? Differentiate them. Now, we're going to be talking about what are leadership style. We're talking about the different leadership style, and we have about 10 of them, as I will be exposing you to in course of this video. Now, what are leadership style? A leadership style refers to the method leaders use to engage with, to motivate and direct their workforce. It takes no account not just how they interact with their teams, but also how they approach things like overall strategy and what stakeholder management. So leadership style talks about your overall strategy in executing your business processes. Leadership style talks about your stakeholders management, how you're able to manage your stakeholders. Talks about how you're able to manage people, how you're able to manage operation and stuff like that. Now, people have been theorizing about what makes a great leader for centuries. Now, Aristotle, one of the great leader that we've always known over time, he said something that is very, very striking. He said, to be a good leader, you must first be a follower, which is eventually true. Now, however, it was Daniel Goleman for the Harvard Business Review in 2000 who organized leadership behavior to fall into different categories. You see, now his aim was to identify the most successful leadership behavior, and we will be going to discuss some of these as soon as possible. Now, what are the leadership styles that we have in our businesses to be able to manage your businesses? What are the leadership styles? The first one we have is what? Coaching. Second one is visionary types of leadership. We have servant type of leadership. We have autocratic type of leadership. We have laissez-faire type of leadership. We have democratic style or types of leadership. We have pace-setter style of leadership, we have transformational style of leadership, we have transactional style of leadership, and we have bureaucratic style of leadership. All these styles of leadership are different, especially in their method of carrying out their activities, in their method of their operation, in their method of managing people. They are all different. They are all different. So as a business owner, if you don't know this style of leadership and how they are able to manage people, you will end up hiring the wrong person. And when you hire the wrong person to fit in a particular position, you will discover that your business will run into jeopardy, because a leader they lead in different capacity and with different styles. They lead in different capacity, different styles. So at every point in time, a business owner should be able to know which one to hire. Now, it sounds like gibberish, all that we have been talking about, but now let's break it down into smaller pieces. The first thing we are going to be talking about is what? The coaching style of leadership. The coaching style of leadership. What does the coach style leadership look like? What does it look like? Now, the coaching leadership style focuses on recognizing and nurturing the strength of each team member and working with them to improve their collective outcomes. It's coaching style of leadership leverage on the strength of each team member. Recognize that's the strength of each team member and nurture that strength to see to it that what they improve. Once they're able to improve, they will be able to bring collective outcome for the establishment and for the development of what the company. You see. Now, how does this work? Like, for example, as a kid, you discover that if you are being in the football setting, we normally have a football coach. Now, this football coach will inspire that kid. While inspiring that kid, you discover that kid will begin to develop, and before you know it, the kid will develop into its maximum of full potential, and he or she will begin to work in that capacity. That is what coaching style of leadership. That is what coaching style of leadership. Now, in that coaching style of leadership, you discover that the team members begin to grow in their confidence, and you discover that they will win more games, they will do more, they will do extraordinary things, because a coach has been able to nurture them, a coach has been able to train them to become the best version of themselves. That is how the coaching leadership style operates. Now, another thing we are going to be talking about is what? When is the coach leadership style effective? When is it effective? When is it effective? When is this effective? Now, a 2016 study found out that coaching style or coaching leadership was most effective in building relationships and self-efficacy. Self-efficacy. This type of leader is best placed in direct management roles, working with teams where individual members lack the skills or knowledge they need to achieve their goals. In this kind of setting, if you're a business owner and you discover that your employees, they lack skills to be able to carry out the function you want them to carry out, this is when you bring in a coaching style of leadership. You bring in a coach to be able to train them, to build their skills, to build their confidence, so that they can become the best version of themselves. Build their knowledge that they need to be able to achieve the goal of your establishment. So this is a critical thing that you must take note of. This is the particular time that you need to bring in a coach to be able to carry out that particular function for you. Now, let's say you run a marketing company that regularly hires recent graduates or grads, and there is a high turnover. Now, if there is a high turnover, if those graduates feel that they are not really good in their skill, maybe they are not being developed effectively, this is when you also need to bring in a coach to be able to build them. A coach will come in, build their skills, so that when their skills have been built or have been built, they will be able to maximize their potential. And you discover that high turnover will begin to accumulate more. to accumulate more. Now, it is also time to bring in a coaching leader. Now, they will spend time getting to know when you bring in a coaching leader, they will spend time getting to know each of your hires and helping them strengthen their skill sets, creating a more positive culture within the team and improving their output and retention. A coach comes in, begin to help those recent graduates that have no experience at all. A coach comes in, begin to help those of your employees or staff that have no skill sets, or even if they do, but their skills, it is not being strengthened enough to be able to carry out the functions that you need them to carry out. That coach comes in and begin to train them, give them directives, give them direction, give them proper training on how to, and proper mentoring on how to better themselves, give them relevant material, and they will be able to build themselves through the help of that coach, and they will discover that their potential will be fully maximized. And when the potential is fully maximized, they will add productivity to the company. They will add productivity to the company. Now, another thing we need to consider is when is coach kind of style of leadership not effective? When? Now, when almost 70% of your workers says they did work more effectively if they are better recognized for their work, if they give a feedback that they are much more okay, whether if the coach was not available, that they can stand on their own, that they can even do more better, then you will discover that that particular time is not the time for you to hire a coaching kind of leadership. You see, because it seems that the coaching leadership style is appropriate. It might seem that a coaching leadership is maybe not appropriate for all situations. It's not appropriate for all situations. However, coaching leadership is time intensive and focuses on the management of daily tasks. You see, the management of daily tasks. This makes it less useful in high pressure leadership scenario, where a quick turnaround is necessary, or where you just need good results and fast results. A coaching style of leadership has to do with your daily task, management of your daily task, improving people, But when you need high result and speedy results, you don't employ a coaching style of leadership. A coaching style of leadership would be less appropriate for senior leadership in cost-cutting scenarios. You see, this is not the time to bring in a coaching style of leadership. For example, since the issue at hand is not lack of employee management, but for improving of productivity. Good. So we are going to be talking about another style of leadership, which has to do with the visionary style of leadership. The visionary style of leadership. What does the visionary style of leadership look like? A visionary leader is a big picture thinker. A visionary leader is a big picture thinker. Vision talks about to foresee, to see beyond the ordinary, you see. Now, they are all about company's mission. They used to unite and inspire their employees. They set big goals and encourage them to think freely about how to reach those goals. They are the big thinker. So they come into the company, see the vision of the company, and execute the vision of the company using the mission that has been put in place. If the vision is not well defined, since they are the big thinker, they will also strategize on how to make the vision well structured. You see, and they run fast. They will now have to do what? Inspire the employees, motivate the employees, unite the employees, give them big targets, and everybody runs with that target. And before you know it, the goals, the objective, the vision of the company will be fully achieved. Now, when is the visionary leadership style effective? When is the visionary leadership style effective? The visionary leadership style is most effective when a big change is afoot and when a clear vision is needed to move the company forward. When there is lacking in an establishment in terms of running of the vision, when there is lack in that regard, that is when you will need to bring in a visionary leader. When you discover that the goals and objective of the company is not being met as proposed as the company owner, then you will need to bring in a visionary leader to see to it that what the goals and objective of the company is met, so to speak. So it is a mindset well suited for chief executives, entrepreneurs, and change leaders, particularly when you are heading into a period of rapid growth. When you know that this is a period of rapid growth, it is important you take note of the fact that that is the time for you to employ a visionary leader. So that, why are you employing a visionary leader? So that a visionary leader will be able to drive your vision and your goal, and you will discover that when this is being driven properly, there will be what? Full manifestation of your vision. There will be full manifestation of your vision, and what? Growth will come into place. Now, when is the visionary leader style not effective? Remember, not all leadership style is effective in all cases. Not all leadership style is effective in all cases. Now, we want to consider, when is the visionary leadership style not effective? As we said before, visionary leadership style is about the big picture. It's about the big picture. It is not about the day-to-day kind of activity. And that can be a problem depending on the type of role you are hiring for. So if you need a day-to-day leader to be able to, leadership kind of style, to be able to run your business for you, and you went and bring in and employ a visionary kind of leadership, that vision will fall. That company may likely fall into doom. Why? Because the big picture thinker will take out time to begin to analyze certain things, begin to take out time to analyze how to make productivity over a long period of time. But then you need a rapid growth. You need something to happen instantly, on a daily basis. You need rapid change. You need sales to come in on a daily basis. You don't need a visionary kind of leader. If you bring in a visionary kind of leader in this regard, you have failed in your decision-making process. You have failed in your decision-making process. Now, if you're looking for someone to fix operational issue or execute projects, a visionary leader is not your best bet as well. Operation talks about regular activity, so you don't bring in operational manager. A visionary leader cannot be employed as an operational manager. No. You also need to be mindful of the danger of visionary leadership. You will have to make sure you have a solid succession plan in place, so that you are not left in the lurch if a charismatic leader leaves. If you have been able to employ a visionary leader over a long period of time, and the person has been able to run with your vision, you need to be very, very careful, because if that visionary leader leaves your establishment and the person is a charismatic person, the person knows what he's doing, if you don't bring a good person who will be able to replace he or she in that regard, your company may fall in the process. So you need you need to keep somebody on ground, a solid structure that will be able to succeed the person if the person eventually leaves. Another thing we are going to be talking about is the servant kind of leadership, the servant style of leadership. What does the servant style of leadership looks like? Instead of viewing themselves as commanders, as people who wants to control, of commanders of employees under them, you see, that their employees must obey them. They see themselves as servant leaders. Servant leaders consider their job to be empowering their team to succeed, rather than being a commander over them. So what do? They empower their followers. They give them the necessary things that they need to achieve their dreams and goals in their establishments. They give them the resources, they give them the technical know-how, they give them the ideas that they need. That is servant leadership. In a team setting, servant leadership might look like a sales manager who sets a clear target for the next quarter and schedule one-on-one talks with each team member or their rep to discuss what they need to be able to meet it or meet the goals. Now, if the team falls behind, the manager pitches in to help them stay back on track. That is servant kind of leadership. The manager comes in to help everybody stay on track. He's ever ready to give them support in all measure, not to come and boss them all around. No, he comes in when things are falling apart and he gives them direction on how they should, work and carry out their job effectively. Now, when is servant leadership style effective? A servant leadership style is ideal when your leader will be managing desperate workers or teams who need to be able to work independently. When people want to work independently, that is the kind of leadership you need to bring in. You need to bring in a servant leadership who will give everybody the free chance to be able to work and achieve the desired result. Who will not want to boss everybody around. There are some staff that won't want people to boss them around. They have confidence in themselves and they want to deliver their job and give feedback to their master. So in that scenario, you need to bring a servant kind of leadership who will give people the liberty to work and also assist them while they are working independently. Also assist them to see to it that what the goals and the goals and objective is being achieved maximally. Okay. When is servant leadership style not effective? That is what we are going to consider. A servant leadership style has aspects in common with the coaching style, in that in time intensive and relies on listening. It is time intensive. So the servant kind of leadership will always want to listen towards their subordinates, to hear them out, to give them listening ear, and to see how they will be able to help them to achieve their goals. You see, so that may take a lot of time to be able to get hold of. That may take a lot of time to be able to manage. You see, it's more of like coaching. They are coaching and coaching and servant leadership. They are working. They work together. It's almost the same thing. It's almost the same thing. Now, in practice, this means that it is not well suited for roles that require time pressure decision making. If you need to achieve goals immediately, when you're being hooked up, when things are under pressure, you don't need a servant kind of leadership in that scenario. You don't need a servant leadership in that scenario. So it is also highly practical, which means that this is high growth, which means that in a high growth or startup like work environment where creative brainstorming is needed, a servant leadership may lack the authority or the capacity to keep their workers united. You see, because that is when pressures are high, they may not be able to fit in effectively. And when there is high growth for startup, that is pressure. They won't be able to. Servant leadership won't be able to fit into this kind of job situation. At this moment, we're going to come to the end of this section.